Connecting the community through gospel.
The new 107.9 FM, W300EB.
Macon and WDDO 980 AM.
Perry.
Macon.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Well, we've got our uh, we know our engineer is going to take care of that. He already has. We wanna welcome you to Ask Elaine. This is your voice, Commissioner Elaine Lucas, and the person you see sneaking in is none other than my pastor, Reverend Livonia Franklin, who is the most efficient pastor of Stewart Chapel AME Church. And since he sneaked in, we're going to ask him if he would open us. We had Pastor Dunning on with us last week as our co host. And we're going to ask Pastor Franklin if he would open us with a small prayer, short prayer. And then we're going to talk with him about some issues that are very, very important and should be important if they're not to all of our faith leaders and things that they should be doing, should be a part of in order to get out this vote. So, Pastor.
Good evening. God, we thank you now for the opportunity you're giving to us to be together on this wonderful show. We pray, God, that you would bless the hearers to be doers of your word, and they will get out and vote. We thank you now for every family, every member of our community, every leadership of our community. We ask you now, God, you bless all of us in our community and our places across the world. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. We want to thank you, and we're glad to have you back today. We heard you were early. You came yesterday. We're here a whole day early. Now, that is excited about being on WDDO. But I followed a good bit of the program on yesterday, and it was wonderful. We can't talk enough about voting. We, first of all, want to thank our sponsors. Thank all of you for tuning in today, those who are on AM, those who are on FM, those who've tuned in the Glory Live, Facebook Live. And we invite you to, if you're on Facebook Live, we invite you to join us in the chat. Ms. Woodford has already joined us, and we hope to have other folks to join us. If you have comments or questions, please place them in the chat, or you're welcome to call in 478-250-1444. We do expect none other than Kimberlyn Carter, who is on the road. I hope she'll slow it down. as she travels, probably from Atlanta here. So she will join us today. We want to thank the Energy Foundation. And over the next several months, you're going to be hearing lots of information on energy, on how you can save on
Mhm.
energy costs in your home. We're also going to talk to Senator Lucas and some folks from Georgia Power who are providing information on electric cars. And
Mm.
so we might as well get used to the
Yeah.
idea. Things are changing,
Mhm.
and the coal is gone.
Mhm.
We've dug just about all of it
That's
up. There
gone
won't
too.
be any more.
Yeah, that's over.
Other non renewable fuel sources are gone. We
Yeah.
can't continue tapping into those. So we've got to come up with some new and cleaner ways
Mhm.
of providing our energy. And so that's one of those topics that we're going to be providing to you, compliments of the Energy Foundation, which helps to support Ask Elaine. Black Voters Matter is working day and night to try and encourage people to
Mhm.
get out and vote, because their saying is that if you don't use your vote, you lose your vote. And they are committed to making sure that our votes are protected. So why won't we do that? The other organization is the organization that Kimberlyn Carter is the head of, the director, and that's Rep Georgia. And when she gets in, she's going to tell you a little bit more about that organization, what they're about, how they're encouraging people to vote, but also to run for office. And so it takes a special kind of person to run for office and to also get the work done. Some people just think you just step up there and you just say, "Here I am," and that's it. It takes some work beforehand, some preparation. So we're going to talk with Kimberlyn about those kinds of things, and we just welcome all of you. We also welcome Ms. Goff, who is one of our frequent listeners. We want to thank her. Harriet Taylor is here with us, and we just welcome you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Randy Crawford is here as well.
Mm.
So if Randy's here, then Ricky can't be far
Can't be far
far
from
behind.
Randy and Ricky.
So we want to welcome all of you to the program today. We do have a special 2 hour show today. The first hour, we're going to talk with Reverend Franklin, and we invite you to call and ask questions. If you have comments, we invite those. We're going to be talking about voting and a number of other topics. And I'm going to try and share with you some of the things that are going on in county government. Then that second hour, we're going to talk basically to Kim about national politics, state politics, local politics, how we need to be involved. Um, it is sad. Miss Oma Foma has joined us, and if I messed up your name, forgive me. But she has joined us. Good afternoon to you, Pastor.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the Speaker of the House,
Hmm.
the lady who is third in line to the
Hmm.
presidency. If something were to happen to the president, the vice president would take on those duties.
Hmm.
If something were to happen to the president and vice president, then the Speaker of the House, who at this time is Nancy Pelosi, Miss
Correct.
Pelosi, who
Correct.
serves well and is a sharp, sharp woman.
Hmm.
She is 82.
Hmm.
Her husband is also 82. Now, they had a break in
Hmm.
a few days ago,
Hmm.
and her husband was seriously, seriously injured. But there are some people that we got to do some serious praying for, because they were cracking jokes about it. The
Wow.
Republicans, and I know you're nonpartisan. I'm very partisan. I told y'all that before. I'm
Very
very
partisan.
partisan.
Correct.
And I don't mind letting you know. But how insensitive, how inhumane can you be to crack jokes about an 82-year-old man getting injured by a 42-year-old in his own home. Someone breaks into your home
Mm-hmm.
and they attack you with a hammer.
Mm-hmm.
You suffer a concussion and you have to have surgery at 82. Now you imagine that's you. You imagine that's somebody that you care about. And it's okay to crack jokes
It's
about it. Your thoughts.
it's not. I think when I heard about it, and that the security wasn't watching the cameras, that's the why he got in, and they wasn't able to get there until they saw police lights on. For them to not be paying attention, that's another thing too. I'm sure
That
it's going to
is
be.
yeah.
But for an 82-year-old man to be beaten with a hammer and then you make a joke about it's bad. Here in Macon, there was a man that ran the old food fair, but he started doing paper products. And
Hmm.
a guy came in there
Mr. Cohen.
and beat him
I
the
remember.
same way with that hammer. Just so happened, people across the street, the florist helped him so he
Uh-huh.
didn't die. And here, this guy thought Nastro's husband was dead after he beat him because he woke up in the pool of his own blood. That means he left him to die.
Mm.
So when you that strong into your beliefs and your politics where you become violent, something is mental wrong from the
Right.
start.
Right.
And we should, even though we might disagree about our political views, it shouldn't take us to violence about what we think and who we are because everybody
Right.
have a different view in life and it shouldn't
Right.
take us that far. I think what he did was very inhumane and that
Very.
something should happen and then they should find a way to do something differently. When your significant other is in that type of position, it should more than a camera on you anyway.
Right. That's right. And I want to repeat that this station is nonpartisan. Pastor Franklin is representing some entities today. They are nonpartisan. Elaine Lucas is not nonpartisan. I am very partisan. I am very much a supporter of Democratic candidates. So I wanted to make that perfectly clear that what our guests say that comes from a nonpartisan
Right.
standpoint, unless they come on and say I'm partisan, just like Elaine. Randy Crawford says that Stacey Abrams will be at the New Fellowship Baptist Church tomorrow morning at 8:30 for a faith service. All the pastors are invited
Correct.
to that 8:30
Correct.
service. So all pastors, if your pastor doesn't generally listen to Ask Elaine, call him or her up and let them know that they're invited to meet with Stacey Abrams
Mhm.
at 8:30 in the morning. At
Mhm.
the 8:30, 8:30, she's on a tight schedule.
She
You know
is.
how we like to tip in at
Right.
8:35,
8:45
like I do
is
sometimes at
10
church. But
till.
anyway, I'm doing better. But Stacey Abrams has a full schedule tomorrow. She will be at New Fellowship at 8:30 a.m. Then there will be a service
Mhm.
at 9 o'clock.
Mhm.
So everybody is invited to be there in
Correct.
worship service.
Correct.
Then at 11:30, Stacey Abrams, who's the Democratic nominee for governor, will be at the Tubman Museum.
Mm.
And so everybody's invited to come and share in those. If we have enough time, we will review those. We'll repeat those times. But if you will just put it on your calendar to meet Stacy, see Stacy somewhere tomorrow. She's devoting just about the entire day to
Mm.
Macon, Bibb County and this area. She was recently in Fort Valley. She was in Milledgeville.
Mhm.
Reverend Warnock was
Yeah.
in those places as well. They are wearing themselves out to convince us that our vote is important. They don't have to do it.
They don't.
They do not have to do it for us.
Mm.
So let's show our gratitude and show our good sense by supporting those folks who support us. For those of you who are diabetics, who are on insulin,
Mhm.
your cost is going to be capped at $35. That's Pastor Warnock and Joe Biden's doing, the Democrats. All the Republicans voted against it. And if Herschel had been there, he would have voted against it too if they held his hand and put it up there to show him where to vote. So, anyway, Pastor Lisa has joined us. We've got Randy Crawford, who reminds us of Stacey Abrams at his church in the morning, 8:30 for pastors, and then a 9 o'clock service, faith service, then at 11:30 at the Tubman Museum. Um, Lisa says she's partisan too. She's a proud
Proud
Democrat.
Democrat.
She's
Hey, Lisa.
Overseer Mabel Randall, uh, who you mistook for me
Okay. I'm
yesterday.
not going to live that
You can
down.
that was all right because it was a good program,
Yeah, it
Pastor.
was a
It
good
was it
program.
was good.
I
Y'all were
enjoyed it.
talking about the right stuff, and she always does. We want to welcome her to the program. Now, Pastor's going to put on his nonpartisan hat, and he's going to tell us what your group or
Mhm.
groups are doing to make sure that people exercise their right to vote.
One of the things that I want to thank y'all. First, I want to thank you for letting me be on the show. I think Ask Elaine is a great opportunity to hear the real voice, and you are the real voice for making. Thank you so much for your voice and for you putting out just like it is. For most of the time, when you go on the radio, we kind of be, but you
Dress
go
it up.
dress it
Yeah.
up, but you go put it on like TISC. So thank you again for the invite. And on yesterday, I had a great time with Sister Overseer
I could
Randall.
tell.
We had
I
a
could
ball
tell.
yesterday, so it was a great night. So I'm getting double for my trouble. So
Yeah.
this is good trouble to
Thank
be
you
in.
for
So,
coming.
and I'm glad to be here. One of the things that we're trying to do is get free rides to the polls.
Mhm.
Some folk don't want to ride; they want to bring their cars there. You got free rides to go. If you call the poll, they give you a number, then they'll dispatch a nice vehicle to pick you up. All the vehicles are nice to ride in, which is such a blessing. So you'll be picked up in a vehicle or a bus or whichever, and taken to the poll and taken back. You can't beat it. That's one of the great things we're doing is to help those get out the votes. If you can't walk, if you don't have a way, or you just don't want to drive,
Yeah.
the rights are free. So we're doing that. We're also asking you if they live with you, they vote with you.
Yes.
That is very,
Yes.
very
Grab them
important.
all.
Grab them all. If you
Uh-huh.
paying bills in that house, everybody in ought to vote.
You better
And that's
believe
up
it.
to us. If you feed them and they riding around in
That's
your
right,
cars
folks.
and you feed you your food, you ought
That's
to
right.
make sure that
That's
they
right.
vote.
That's
Because
right.
everybody at my house votes. If
Oh,
you live in
yeah.
847, you got to
Yeah.
vote.
That's right.
So if you do that, most of the time we catch the 18 to 25 group, which is one of the biggest non-voting
Oh,
groups
they
we've
aren't
got.
voting. Like, oh, it's awful.
It's awful. But they'll come to the parties, they'll come to the rallies, they'll come to everything. You got to eat up all your food and to hold up all your signs. But
And
they
fuss.
don't want to stay in the voting line, and
Uh-huh.
that is the problem that we're having is they won't stay in line. So, but if you, the people, will say everybody, if you live with me, you vote with me, we'll pick you all up
Yeah.
and bring you
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
place and let you vote. So those are the greatest things we put out. We got a phone bank that Pastor Marvin Colbert is running, and it is running, and we made a lot of calls. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
and one of the things I found out, we were at the classic.
Oh,
Past
Savannah State University versus Fort Valley. My SSU Tigers won. I'll
Oh
have you
Lord
to
have
know.
mercy. Let me make sure
Now,
y'all Fort Valley
but I got
Wildcats
my
know I ain't
master.
starting
I got
now.
my master's at Fort Valley,
See,
so
so
I'm a double.
you're a
I'm
double.
SSC.
So
Well,
you
it was
split
SSC, SSU, and Fort Valley.
at Fort Valley.
I kind of felt bad a little
A
while,
little
a
while.
real short time for Fort Valley. But normally, I uh, I root for Fort Valley if
Okay.
they're
Anybody else?
anybody else. But
Savannah State.
where Savannah
Okay.
meets the sea, I had to
Ain't that
do my
something?
orange and blue. All right, I'm sorry, I
Okay.
cut you
Had to
off,
jump in that thing. That Savannah
Pastor.
State grabbed them.
It
Well,
did.
why the classic? We realized a lot of folks didn't know that about the referendums on the ballot. So we spent time explaining them about
That's
what
right.
they were and what they were. And we tell everybody, vote the entire ballot.
The
Most
entire,
folk
yeah,
come only voting for Raphael or whichever on the senators and then the governor, but there's other important people on that ballot needs your check
right,
as well. So vote the entire ballot and the referendum. That means a lot. There are four of them back then. You got to make
yeah,
sure that you know what you're voting for and don't leave them blank because when you
right,
leave them blank, you're messing up. We need to make sure that your vote does count. And
yeah.
when you vote for everything, creates opportunities for our community.
That's
So
right.
please vote the entire ballot. And I am, Lisa Wasser, a Mercer Bear. So let you know we didn't play in the classic, but we got a stadium now with football. Y'all can go by and check it out. Throw that in there.
Right, 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 right. Mr. Crawford is telling us that the faith service will be first at 8:30. Okay, so that's a little bit of a change. So that's 8:30. Okay, at New Fellowship, and we want everybody to make sure
To-
that they're there at 8:30. We were thinking that there would be a separate meeting at 8:30 with just the ministers,
Well,
but
that's my email I got. Was going to be ministers supposed to meet with her first, but just be there, and
just
then
be there
they
at
have a
eight
place
thirty.
to split
Yeah,
you up. But they're
yeah,
supposed to have a group meeting with them because we realize that if the preachers get together,
that's
the
right.
punch is more
That's
powerful.
right.
So they're really working on the grassroots,
Uh
and
huh.
this is going to take us to make sure we do it together to make this happen. We can do it.
We sure
We
can.
turned the state blue when Walnut and the other senator won when
And
when
Ossoff.
Ossoff when they
Hmm.
went, we showed what happened,
We sure did.
especially down south. They
Scared them to
really,
death.
oh my God, when we flipped state blue, it shocked the world.
Uh huh.
So they're trying to block us from stopping and doing it again. If we work this together, we can keep Georgia
You
blue,
better believe it.
but it's
Better
going to take
believe it.
all of us to work together.
All right, Pastor Lisa, we've been joined by Jacqueline Hawthorne. We've been joined also by Sherry Shannon Miller, and they're
Mhm.
all encouraging everybody to get out and vote. Randy Crawford says that breakfast in the morning is going to be after the 8:30 service, so you'll get a chance to get some Jesus first thing, which we all need. We really do need it at 8:30, and then the breakfast will be after that. And those changes were just made.
Okay.
So we want to thank all those who've tuned in with us. Pastor was talking, and a little later on, when Kim arrives, we're going to be going through those
Mhm.
four proposed amendments. There
Mhm.
are two amendments, and then there are some statewide referendum questions. Now, the amendments are things that will actually become law with a majority vote of citizens. The referendum questions are items that we're giving our opinion
Mhm.
on, and they will use those to determine whether to move forward
Mhm.
with them or not. But they are all important, and we will review those in a little bit. Pastor, there have been 20,900, almost 21,000
Mhm.
voters who have voted absentee in person at one of those three voting sites. The main office on Poundon Avenue, Senior Citizen Center in Carolyn Creighton Park, and the Theranossery
Mhm.
Center on North Macon Park
Newman Park.
Drive.
Yeah.
There have been another 2,911 who have returned their absentee
Mm.
ballots by mail,
Mhm.
which means that we have 22, 23, 2,300, 23,000, excuse me, 23,000 residents who
Mhm.
are registered and who have voted.
Mhm.
However, we pointed out last week, Maria Bryant, welcome to the show. We're glad you're here. That there were over 100,000 people who are registered to vote.
Mhm.
Over 100,000. And welcome, Susan Smith. Think about it. 22,000 have voted,
Mhm.
but there are 100 over 100,000 who are that are eligible.
Mhm. That's the
So
sad
that's
thing.
still a whole lot. These candidates are worried to death
Mhm.
about the turnout, especially in Macon Bibb County, because usually there's a really good turnout. The last few elections, we've had a terrible, terrible turnout. I think the last one was like 10%, 10 or
Mhm.
20%, which is horrible.
Mhm.
Nobody can get out there and work hard for you if they don't get the votes. So we just would encourage you to please get out and exercise your right to vote. Um, let's see if there are any other comments, any other corrections to that schedule, other than these folks going woot woot for Mercer.
Oh my
I think
God.
that's
Oh
what
my
we got.
God. Yeah,
That's
we
what we
got
got
that.
on here.
Also, we asking everybody to make sure that your family members, whether if they are away, like my brother's away, to make sure that absentee ballots are sent to them.
Right.
We're asking you that anybody that you know in your family that is living away, just need an absentee ballot, that you make sure you get it and get it turned in to the drop box at the place, not mailed in, but to the drop box
Yeah,
at the place, because we want to make sure that they get the absentee. We've seen races won and lost by absentee ballots.
that's true.
So if you can make sure that the people in your household or in your family members that has a way from making to get an absentee ballot, it really would be a blessing. So just go through the thoughts of who you know live around you and hasn't been in making, and call and ask them, did they get an absentee ballot, and get one to them, so make sure we can get them vote in.
Right. That's right. Um, we want to encourage you. You can vote up until 5 o'clock today
Hmm.
at those early voting sites. Maria with the NAACP says that those numbers are sad.
They are. They're
When
real
we have
sad.
100,000 people registered,
Hmm. Hmm.
and we just have that little
Hmm.
piddling number that's already voted. We voted in higher numbers, and people were really, really happy
Right.
about those who've gone to vote. But we really do. And Desmond Brown has joined us. He's a candidate for the Water Board District 2.
Hmm.
And he says we need at least 50% in order to have a decent
That's right.
turnout.
That's right. We need 50%.
50%. Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
it's going to take us, the people, to make sure if you live with me, you vote with me. That has got to be put out. If you live with me, you vote with me. Make sure that you vote. And this is easy for us to do when we do it. When we show up, and it just happens for us.
That's right.
And that's why they stay in making so hard. If they can get making to blow up, it's really we've been the turning point quite a
We
few
have,
times.
we have, we
And
have. And all our votes go into the total votes. So the more, as
Mhm,
Pastor said, the more of us that turn out, the more influence we'll have on those numbers. And some people have called me from Atlanta today who are very, very concerned
mhm,
about our turnout. They want to see so many more because we've got statewide candidates in all of these different for all of
that's
these
true.
different offices. And in the next few months, when all of these terrible, terrible practices and provisions and laws go into effect that you don't like,
Mhm,
then you'll have nobody to blame but yourself, because there are people on the ballot who are in position to make some positive changes, to do what's right for people.
mhm,
There's so many folks now who want to punish people. There are folks in Washington, D.C., who are now, right now, saying that if they are triumphant and they regain the Senate and the House,
mhm,
they're going to work on impeaching President Biden.
mhm,
Why can't you work on the economy? Why
mhm.
can't you work on continuing to lower the prices of medicines and food and all kinds of stuff? Why can't you work together for all of us? Why is your number one priority impeaching Biden, who, from what I can see,
Yeah,
hadn't done anything? He fell up the steps one time going up on the plane, but everybody's tripped.
they're right. That's
I
true.
mean, Biden has more experience and more goodwill
Hmm.
than all of them combined.
Correct.
And so he's been able to do, it's like he's had his hands tied behind his back, but he's still been able to get the first Black woman on the Supreme Court.
Hmm.
He's been able to get through this bill, the infrastructure bill. He's been responsible for your stimulus, your stimmies, as
Hmm.
people call it,
Hmm.
your stimulus. Yeah, we all got it, and he was responsible, along with the others, for putting in place the child credit,
Hmm.
where folks with children received a check each month. And it instantly raised, I think, 50% of children out of poverty.
Ain't this something?
The Republicans voted against renewing it
Hmm.
or continuing it. So that means that a lot of our children don't have that advantage
Right.
now. And you know whose children those are.
Yeah.
And if you think it's not yours, then think again.
Somebody's in your family
Think
need it.
again.
Uh,
Somebody in your family,
needs that.
somebody, one of your neighbors.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we would just encourage you. Go, you've still got time. It's 3:30.
3:30.
You've got what's that? An hour and a half.
That's it.
Hour and a half to go vote today
Hmm.
at one of 3 locations. Just take your driver's license, picture ID. That's all you need.
Hmm.
Just go on in. Show them that. Go on through the line.
Hmm.
It took me maybe 5 minutes to go through that process, and then it took me maybe 10 more
Minutes to vote.
minutes to go through and make sure I had touched. It's just like you're using the ATM at the
Hmm.
bank. You just touch. Yeah, it's easy.
It is
It's
easy.
easy.
They've been calling me, asking me what's the shortest lines. That's what I've been getting phone calls. So far it's been North Macon Park, and then down where your center is down in the center. It's been more crowded at the main branch, but those 2
Uh-huh.
other places been real lights. They be in and out. So they
Right.
call me back. We were in and out. He was all happy about they went in and out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
have been the shortest lines. So if somebody call you about that, make sure you tell them the shortest lines has been in the Elaine Lucas Center and Theron Eshes Park, which is North
Right.
Macon Park.
Right.
So send them
Right.
there because it's in and out.
Right. It is. It is. But I have been so pleased too to see those lines
Hmm.
out at the main
That's correct.
office on Pound
Hmm.
Avenue. It's just great. And in a few weeks, we're going to tell you about the new location
That's
for
correct.
the Board of Elections. It's
Hmm.
going to be at the Macon Mall.
That's correct.
There's a big space under the plans for redevelopment
Mhm.
of the mall with the amphitheater and pickleball courts, and there's going to be a
Mhm.
courtroom out there. There's going to be a mini library
Mhm.
branch, all of this stuff out there. And the Board of Elections is going to be new and improved.
Mhm.
There are committees working on making sure that that space fulfills all of the provisions of law. And so you're going to have a place, and if there's a line, you probably will be
Inside,
inside
yeah, you be
inside the
inside, yeah,
mall
inside the
area,
mall,
with your line and
yeah.
and stuff. So I'm just very excited about that.
Mhm.
The reason for that is we're paying rent over at the
That's good.
Ponona Avenue space,
Mhm.
and they've outgrown the space. They don't have
Right,
space for storing all of the
right.
equipment and
Mhm.
all of that stuff. So this was just to me a great opportunity
Mhm.
to come up with a brand
That's
new
right,
space. It's in that area where Sears used to be,
right.
the mall. So I'm just real excited. And just as soon as those plans are fully developed and released,
Mhm.
then we're going to share them with you. Dorothy Ellis Ridley, the
Hey.
retired elder,
Mhm.
elders,
Benjamin.
yeah, says we need to continue to educate our people on the issues and stop paying attention to the negative commercials. Thank you all. Yeah, those commercials,
Yeah,
if it's about somebody I like, I don't pay any attention to it. I can just flip that switch and
right.
turn it right on off. But you're right. You need to listen to programs like Ask Elaine. You
Mhm.
need to listen to MSNBC or CNN, some of those programs that give you the true information. They're not trying to deceive you. Do you know that some of these low down dirty folks who know the truth about this person breaking into
Mhm.
Speaker Pelosi's house have said that his house really wasn't broken into, that the glass was broken from the inside.
I guess he hit himself in the head with a
I
hammer,
guess
right?
he did. I
He hit
guess he
himself
fought
in,
with
yeah.
himself, hit himself in the
Mhm.
head,
Mhm.
messed up his arm and hand and all
Mhm.
of that too. See,
Mhm.
that's the kind of stuff you have to deal with, and you have to make sure you get the truth.
Mhm.
All right, Pastor, you, Reverend Colbert, a number of other ministers, our Bishop
Hmm.
Jackson, has
Yeah.
come out very, very forcefully
Mhm.
in support of getting folks out to vote. As a
Yeah.
matter of fact, he has pulled together ministers from all denominations. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, they got several things going. One is the SUR, which is the call. They call it the final call. They want all those that will come on with them and listen to what the areas that most need to be hit.
Hmm.
And what they're doing is they're finding places that people in areas not voting that they need to pick up. For example, they're going to be able to know what precincts not voting, who's not voting, who has voted, and that's going to help us to go call them and say, hey, your area needs to do canvassing in this
Right,
area.
right.
And they also need poll chaplains. They need somebody at the poll to watch who's voting and what they're doing. Poll chaplain is simply eyes and ears to see what's going on and be able to turn the information back over to them, like
Mhm.
how long with the lines are, who's there at the places, how can I get rides. Poll chaplains are needed at every precinct and every place they'll be voting, and they're going to need them all over Macon and everywhere else. So they'll be on the call. They'll be sending emails now to make sure all of us know what the information is and what we need to do to get ourselves voted.
Right.
And then once we put the people together and they operate, we do real well.
Hmm. Yes. So you heard that. Uh, Kimberly Carter, come on in. Come on in. Um, anyway, those are the kinds of things that are being done on your behalf. So I don't know what else to say. People care about you, they care about protecting your rights. I just don't understand why we don't work harder on protecting our own rights. I knew when Randy Crawford was on there, Ricky wasn't far behind. Good afternoon to you, Ricky. He says that he's late because he just finished voting. So you're excused. We salute you and all the others, and we know that you've been working really, really hard to
Yeah.
make sure that people get out and vote. So the voting. Maria Bryant reminds us it's 8:30 to 5:30. So I mean, what's the excuse? I took a lady to vote this morning. This lady lives in senior housing,
Mhm.
limited income. She called and she said, I am going to vote. I am going to vote. And she lamented that there are so many younger folks who
Mhm.
have transportation, who, complain a lot,
Mhm.
but they aren't voting. They aren't voting. And I know Kimberly, you have those numbers on
Oh, yes, they
those
couldn't.
folks.
Yeah, these young people are doing a great job, actually.
Kimberly's doing the puff thing. Miss
I'm so
Engineer, you
proud of my
getting
dad.
Kimberly in?
We've
She's
been.
doing
I've
that
been in
puff
there.
thing, and she's doing
We've
and
been. I've been
trying
having a
to.
great conversation in there.
Uh-huh.
I love coming.
She's trying to get the headphones
You gotta get everything right over the
over there.
puff. You gotta
Yep.
get the puff right.
It's
Trying to get
cute.
the
It's like
puff
one of those little
trying to get my
characters on the
puff
little girls program.
and my thing.
Yeah, you'd be right on time with Lele. I had the pleasure of reading a proclamation and presenting it to the guy who put that together, the little girl, black girl, Lele, who is a little role model
Ah,
for little black girls. And it was a show
wonderful.
that was here in Macon not too long ago.
I gotta
And
check that out.
yeah,
'Cause
yeah, it's very positive.
you
Very
know
positive.
how I came in here with Fannie Lou Haim on, so you
Oh
already
well,
know how I
now
feel about
now
that.
you know. Um, if you've ever been in a room and you had what seemed like 500,000 little girls screaming, that's what Lele brings out brings out.
I love it.
Uh-huh. It was really good. But you reminded me. We want to welcome you to
Okay,
Ask Elaine.
I love
We've
being
been
in
telling
Asking.
people,
Is this
past
AME day? Hello.
it is AME. It's
Hey,
AME in
I'm
all
going to put
three.
on my AME
eh,
t-shirt.
These three corners,
Hey,
1, 2, 3.
Oh my God.
AME.
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 we don't
Um,
play with it as AMEs
right,
AME.
with
right.
civic engagement.
Well,
I'm not trying to hit on nobody else's denomination,
Civic
but
but I
engagement.
we
need to let you know that in the AME church, We don't play
We don't play.
about civic engagement.
Yeah.
We don't play about civil rights. We don't play about the right to protest and the right to free speech. Before Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. decided to raise a generation of civil rights leaders in the Deep South, the one and only Bishop Richard Allen held the first nonviolent march in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, when he said, if I can't pray here as a Black man,
I'm out of here.
Then I'm out
of here.
Wow.
And he went to a blacksmith shop and started a church at an anvil. And that is why when you see African Methodist symbolism, you see an anvil, because that is a part of our heritage. He was the first in the history of nonviolent protest. And because of his example, Dr. Martin Luther King, Stephen Biko, Nelson Mandela, Diane Nash, Fannie Lou Hamer, because of Bishop Richard Allen's courage, those individuals were able to change this nation.
Oh, it's history, y'all.
And so African Methodism has taken a frontline position in this war against these threats to our democracy, to our decency, and to our precious right to vote.
Well, we were just talking about
am I
Bishop
telling the truth,
Jackson. You are.
You are.
Can I just
AME.
amen,
Get the whoop whoop and the whoop whoop.
This is just the truth of the matter.
Oh my God.
We are a connectional church, and on these shores here in the United States of America, there is not one AME church that you couldn't visit in Montana to Pennsylvania, New York, Georgia, South Carolina, New York, Louisiana, where if you didn't ask that pastor how many registered voters were a member of his church, that he could not answer you. We have always been connected to liberation theology. We have always been connected to understanding that our faith works when we work. And that's why I am always so proud to be an AME.
I am as well.
And
now,
folks need to know about Bishop Henry McNeil Turner, especially all these Second Amendment right folks.
Former Mayor C. Jack Ellis tried to recognize some of that during his time as mayor with the naming of some things.
Post office.
In the park. He tried. But all folks could think about was he had some little lights on his car.
Right.
That was
because they fought y'all on the Rosa Parks naming too, didn't they?
Wow. Sure did. They wanted to make sure that the family had given consent and all of that. Now, do you think that the Mayor C. Jack Ellis would pursue naming a park in honor of someone without knowing? You got to check in and get permission from the family and all of that. And he had done all that.
When we have Confederate statues that stand in this city that don't even have a name on them, we don't know who their family is, and neither do they.
We kind of moved them on over to the cemetery grounds.
Yeah, that was interesting. I didn't think that never would happen. I was really shocked when they moved that thing. It was interesting because I didn't think that was going to happen.
It could not have happened, and I'm going to tell you, it could not have happened as smoothly if we had not had the assistance of some folks that you would not believe who they are. And I'm going to tell you afterwards. But things like that,
you know how my mouth is.
Things like that don't just happen. And there were some people who tried to start growling and everything, talking about, we need our monument. You don't move this, you don't move that. But they got moved, and it was just as smooth as silk. I think there was just one little guy, and he tried, but nobody else was there with him. And so,
I go to cities all over this state, and it is rare to find the leadership that we have in Commissioner Lucas. It is rare. That's just the real of it. It is rare. We should be more grateful. Because I travel.
nice.
She's
She
nice.
is
I ain't being nice. I'm being real.
You
travel.
just don't know what has come as a result.
Hey.
One of these days,
Very few
I'm
of
going to
these
share
communities that have,
with all
people
of you
stand
some
up.
of the stuff that my family has dealt with.
Yeah.
I'm going to share with you, and then I'm going to bring you some of the Facebook posts and some of the
Yes, ma'am.
text messages and emails
Mm.
that I have received. And you're going to think, well, that sounds just like the Pelosi's. That
Mhm.
sounds just
yes,
like
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Maxine Waters.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
so.
I want to let
anyway.
you know that when I am on panels and webinars lately where I am talking about political violence, because I too am a survivor of political violence, I do call your name. I do call your family name.
Mhm.
And I let these folk know that this ain't new.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just because we have 24-hour news media,
Oh, yeah.
24-hour social media, and we know about these things, does not make these things new.
That's correct.
Political violence, violence against people who think differently, look differently, has been how this country was pretty much founded. But trust me, I am well aware of what you have endured.
Well, we're going to talk about it one day, y'all,
One of these
because I know
days.
y'all like juicy stuff.
Juicy.
So I'm
and
going to tell
by.
you what you saw in the media, with folks filing complaints and all that sort of stuff. That was just a little bit of it. But we're going to talk about some of the other stuff, the real stuff. We're going to talk about like folks canvassing your cars.
We may have to do that on a
you
podcast.
know, putting a picture of your car tag up on the right wing side. I mean,
Wow.
all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
Your children, they go after your children, your family members. One of our sons and one of our daughters don't live in Macon because of that. They know they're
Stigma
just
of it.
targeted.
Sure.
Anyway, we're gonna move on because that's another show.
Well,
Kim, we
It's
got
another show,
another.
but
That's
it's really
another
real, though.
show.
But it's still
when
real.
I saw you talking, Kim, I thought about your daddy.
Oh,
She's a Jesse
Carter.
Jr.
Yeah.
And I
I
was
better
talking the other
be.
day how
My mama listened.
how we rode in the back of that car. You could see the ground, so we had to
That's
have our feet up in there.
Yep.
But he was a
But
real.
he got you there.
He got me there, and I
got you
rode.
where you
Trust
were
me, and he would straighten me out when I was messing up too. But he was a real kid in the community and
Yeah.
the people.
Yeah.
And when I see you, that means his legacy still living.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to tell you why you living. My hat goes off to you and your fight to keep it alive and keep it going.
Thank you.
I just think so much of you and what you're doing. When I see you, I see him. And I even see you in the conversation you just talking. I thought about him, how he been here talking loud and putting it out. He was, oh my. Wherever he was, you knew he was in the room.
Oh, yeah.
And he was absolutely a make a night to his bones. And he loved the people in the community, and he did his part in educating us and make sure that we were better than what we were after we had met Jesse Carter.
And we named a field, that football field at Memorial Gym, Pastor Lisa.
That's right.
The legendary Jesse Carter Field, and that sign better still be up over there, is it?
It is.
All right, I haven't been over there recently,
that
but
Memorial Gym. Absolutely.
He
That
did a lot.
South Macon was his. It was just very dear to him.
Yeah.
Especially with our people there, and even when I decided to take a whirl around education, I wanted to be at Bruce Elementary School. I wanted to be at a school in South Macon.
Yeah.
But thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Jesse Carter was an advocate for a lot of things, especially youth sports. Yeah. And that is why we felt like it was only appropriate. And I was pleased to be there to vote in favor of renaming that field. And I was there with the other, it was city council then, was there with Charles Dudley and a number
Charles
of
have
others.
that
Dudley.
picture.
Yeah.
The late
I
Charles
have that
Dudley.
picture, the late Charles
And
Dudley,
had the sign there and the family. His friend, the late D.T. Walton, was there.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I've got that picture. I think I posted that picture a while
A week
back.
does not go by that that I am not in some type of conversation that either my dad's name comes up or DT's name comes up. Probably what a lot of people in Macon didn't know was that my dad and DT actually filed the first lawsuit for the desegregation
I didn't know
of
that.
Bibb County schools. It's still on file. So, yeah, I mean,
They were not scared.
They were not playing.
y'all. They were not
scared.
scared.
They were not playing. They were what the kids say. I mean, they were black. They were the blackity black.
Yeah,
they were blackity,
and they stayed in the neighborhood. I mean, he stayed in Unionville, like AC Callum. They stayed, and Gloria Washington. They stayed. They never left. And my aunt Rosa Duncan never left the neighborhood.
Right.
And they could have easily left the neighborhood, but they stayed in there because they was really wanting to show that you can live in the neighborhood and be successful. They were really great examples.
I'm so glad that you said that.
That was great examples.
And simply because you become better educated, simply because you reach a certain level, that does not mean you can't still advocate for your people.
That's correct.
You can still be. There are some folks who are afraid to say black.
Yes.
They're afraid to be called black. They go with it. I never have picked up on this African American thing. I can't get it. I can't get it out. I'm black. What is wrong with it? I deem it an honor to be black and a double honor that people have trusted me to represent them. So to me, you're insulting yourself and your ancestors if you can't advocate on behalf of your folks. You got to have some sense now. You got to have some sense. You got to think through stuff, and you got to realize, when to hold and when to fold. But, still, there is nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with you being an advocate. We need to be an advocate for our kids.
That's right.
And this educational system. We got a new superintendent who shows such promise in getting this thing turned around like it's supposed to be. Because frankly, y'all, too many of our children are not where they need to be.
And he is without fear.
And
he is also a clergyman. He's a man of the cloth. He is not without fear. And he understands who he is. So the enemies of our progress can't trick him out of understanding who he is.
Mr. Cotton has joined us, and he is just.
They better know what they messing with when they want to mess with Dr. Dan.
Right, but now it's
what
the
little boy
for
said.
us
God don't play about me. What the little boy said. God don't play about me.
But now it's the time with a school system headed by someone who truly believes in excellence. Now is the time for all those folks who've been talking and complaining and saying your kids aren't learning. They're in the wrong setting. They don't have what those schools. Now is the time to step up and join hands with the superintendent and the teachers and the administrators and say, I am a parent. I'm willing to give my input. I want my child to succeed and move on and be a purposeful member of society and doing something so they can take care of their own family so they don't live in the basement.
Because whether you have a child in the school system or not, the school system impacts your life in several different ways. Not only do you pay taxes, even if you go to the Dollar Tree, and if you go to the dollar store, ain't nobody giving you back a penny when you pay $1 for 99 for a 99-cent item. So number one, you are a taxpayer. so what happens in those in the school building means something to you. Number two, the school system is an economic engine of the community. Contracts are given out. They most of the time in most communities, the school system is one of the largest employers. So here in Bibb County, our school system is one of the largest employers of people,
That's
who
right.
work every day. And then last but not least, the product from the school system and who you got to live with, play with, marry, fix your car, um, so our school system impacts us. But just to add another kudos to Dr. Dan, Atlanta Public Schools about 2 weeks ago was recognized nationally by the Department of Education for not only its gains in its in graduation, but also its gains in reading, science, and math. Right, and this is in spite of all of this COVID stuff. Guess who was the assistant superintendent of curriculum?
Oh, Dr. Dan, huh?
Okay,
Dr. Dan.
so
And the superintendent
he
is Lisa
comes. So Dr.
Herring.
Dan comes with a record of success.
Yeah.
And we should be supporting him.
So,
Well, I think one of the things I saw him in action when he came over to the fire administration for the week. Then every week they do. I mean, excuse me, twice a year. And this year they did it for Fire Prevention Week. And he came over, and something went wrong with the intercom section. He went over to help fix it. Most people of that status would have sit down and let you did it. After he helped this guy
that
get
ain't
fixed,
my job.
after he got fixed, he was willing to sit there to make sure it didn't mix up again. That showed me so much about him and the way he's approached things and the way he thinks about things. He's willing to dive in and work with you. That's let me know that in that instance that he's willing to dive in and work with anybody. And I think that's a great thing for we to have him here.
Too. He's been all over this community, and he was telling me
Not afraid of it.
Yeah, that he went out and he just happened to see some people, and he stopped and got out and talked to them and found some mutual kinds of concerns. And those folks were happy to share with him because they had not had that kind of interaction with others. So that's a little hint to those folks who want to make an impact and be able to get some positive things done. All right.
Say that again.
Yeah.
Positive things done. That's good.
Yeah.
Y'all talking about how these brothers are voting?
What's the numbers on the brothers?
I am really excited about. So first of all, y'all stop listening to these enemies of our progress that want us to believe.
The ones who are doing the polls,
who want
and
us
stuff.
to believe they got sisters and aunties that look like Stacey Abrams that they gonna go in there and not vote for Stacey. No, don't play with us. Don't play with us, right? Stop acting like black men don't vote. Black men are the second highest voting demographic.
That's right.
Of the Democratic Party. Did you hear me? Not third. Black women first. Black men second. So when you see black progressives like me cutting the fool on the Democratic Party, that is why. Don't play with us. What we ask for should be first on the priority list, because you wouldn't have a seat if we weren't voting, right? But brothers are really, really. Let me tell you, I was just looking at the numbers the other day.
Because they had this thing out that black men were not supporting Stacey.
Oh yeah,
that's some boy, I tell you.
Now I am a little concerned about some things, but because black men are there's a lot of voting going on, and of course, I am a little uncomfortable because of course we don't know who they're voting for, but just just a little concerned. So black men have made significant increases in early voting turnout, up 52%.
Wow, that's really
from this point in 2018. That's a larger gain than Black women, who were up 42%, white men up 39%, and white women up 37%. So this extra effort that Leader Abrams and her team and Pastor Warnock are putting in to ensure that our brothers are seen and heard, and just the fact that brothers be voting.
Mhm.
Period.
Mhm.
We are definitely seeing Black men turning up
Right.
to vote. Now, I have been on all these, different tours, and so I've been hanging out with the Vote on the Line tour, which is a barbershop, stopping in
Mhm.
on the barbershop. They like, I was just telling him, they like for me to go in and talk to the barbershops. Got to get the brothers so upset. But
There we go.
I went in a barbershop in Augusta 2 weeks ago, and there were young brothers in there, and the young brothers said they think maybe it's time for a regular guy like Herschel Walker to get a chance to go up there. So all them other folks, they ain't regular guys like Herschel. Baby,
Wow.
all the people that were with me they just all pulled back past her like this. They were like,
Wow.
she is getting ready to
I
blow.
knew. Yeah.
She's getting ready to blow a gasket. And I was sitting there, I was like, are y'all serious? What is regular about Mr. Walker?
Yeah.
Number one, can't nobody with no traumatic brain injury do nothing for me. Not even make pancakes. I'm sorry. Period.
Yeah.
That's number one.
He's touched in the head.
Number two, in all of the research that has been done on Mr. Walker, no one has been able to locate a W-2. So Mr. Walker has never held a job. He's never held nothing but a football. So while you calling him a regular guy, he's not a regular. He's not a regular guy. And and number three, and this is just the last and not least. As we have done our research on Mr. Walker's his philanthropic and charitable work, you find
Giving to
very little
others.
work that has happened actually in the Black community or in any community. These are major concerns. These are major concerns. Because I'm engaged, I want people to run for office. I don't think you don't have to be a lawyer. You don't have to have a PhD. You don't have, you just have to, like Dr. King says, you just have to have a heart for service to be in public office. But I do believe that you should have conviction and integrity.
That's true.
And ethics. And so that is my concern with the messaging that the mainstream media seems to want to send to us about his candidacy. That they want to tell us that this is the model of what Black men are and about.
Yeah.
And I reject that.
Yeah.
I reject
Desmond Brown has submitted to the chat about a round of applause for our beloved Macon Water Authority Chairman Sam Hart. And because Sam has questioned some meetings and some practices and procedures of the Macon Water Authority. So, yeah, we give him a round of applause. Mr. Cotton says that it's he thinks that more of Black men now are realizing that the vote counts.
Very good.
Back in the day, he said he would always hear them say, "What difference is it going to make?"
I hear that
he
still.
says that Black men are realizing it does make a difference.
It does.
And then he also says we've got to remember that Herschel Walker is doing what he was asked to do, and that started with the New Jersey Generals
that's true.
that Donald Trump owned. So we do realize that. We appreciate those who've just joined us.
And
you
Wade
are
Horton,
listening.
Wade
is on there too.
What did he say?
I lost track of what Wade had to say.
Okay.
Wade says we Black men are going to represent.
Yeah.
And so Wade Horton, I'm going to tell you something about it. He used to come to commission meeting.
Okay.
Wade has disability as
Okay.
far as his sight.
Okay.
Wade would come in there and he would address the commission. Everybody would just, I mean, they would just get real tight because they didn't know what he was going to say.
All right.
This
I love
man
it.
would come and he would lay it out. And I think
Thank you,
he is
Wade.
responsible for a lot of the positive changes that took place at the Macon Transit
Thank you, Wade
Authority. Because
Horton.
he would go to the meeting and they would just do all kinds of stuff, you know, try and
Really?
discourage him. But it didn't
Wow.
work. It didn't work. So if you've just tuned in, you've tuned in to the first hour of Ask Elaine. We have our special election edition today. It will be 2 hours, so we'll be here till 5 o'clock. Our special guests today are none other than my pastor, Reverend
Yeah.
Levonia Franklin Jr.,
Thank you.
and Miss Kimberlyn Carter, who is the director of Rep Georgia. And before you leave, you got to tell us about Rep Georgia and the kinds of things that you've been doing. Pastor to we've got a caller on the line.
Uh-oh.
Caller, hello.
Got a call
Welcome
on the
to
line.
Ask Elaine.
Good afternoon. How
Hello.
you doing?
We're doing great. Who do we have on the
I just want
line?
to ask a quick. I just want to ask a quick question that, and I congratulate you two ladies for your empowerment. And you were talking about the black men, and myself being from Atlanta as well, and hearing that black men are saying that they're going to vote Republican. Now I'm just curious why the Reverend is nonpartisan. Will he answer that question since he's neither Democrat or Republican? Then where is he at as far as where does he stand? Because that's saying that he's not going to vote for anybody or
Yeah,
that he's leaning more to
Let
Republican.
me let me clear it up. Pastor
Yes, ma'am.
is representing organizations that are not advocating for candidates because of the way the organizations are set up. They cannot advocate. When they said they were going to do this work, their whole idea was to motivate as many people as possible. Now, Pastor, I can tell you, has his own ideas and feels very, very strongly about a whole lot of stuff. But on today's program, he is representing the AME Church and he's representing some other organizations that are nonpartisan. And to be nonpartisan, it means that you will not advocate for one candidate or the other. But you remember, I told you up front, I am partisan. So
And I love
I can say how I feel, but Pastor's doing the work now. He's doing the work of getting voters out. So, you,
Well, can
Oh,
I also say something?
yeah, yeah.
I'll be frankly
So
honest
Pastor
with
can.
you. I'm not waving none of these parties' banners anymore myself. I am a black progressive. And pretty much and I tell people I'm a Georgia crap. And whatever is going to improve my hometown, this county, this state, that's pretty much where I am too. In terms of how I look at people, but when it comes to um, weighing these parties in the balance and looking at which party has actually um, stood up more honorably on the issues that I care about, then I do put on my party hat. So,
Mhm.
but I feel that as Black folk, we are not a monolith. We are not a one
One
note
size
band.
fits all.
And I feel like that I want Black folks to be at every seat of power that exists. So I have Black Republican friends, I have Black Libertarian friends, I have Black friends who call themselves Democratic Socialists and all kinds of things like that. But some of them, just a no party crazy party. But
So
and my mother says that I destroy all family
but even
out of
in
it
our current
from talking
in the current
politics.
status, but how would you the current
So,
status of
Sir,
what's going
so
on
that's
now?
what was your
On which side would
question?
you be on?
Who
You
are
said
you
that
asking?
the young lady that just came in.
Yes, sir.
Kimberlyn Carr.
Miss Kimberlin, okay.
Yes, sir.
So you said that you neither sway either way or swing fine, as you say. So on the current status as to where we are now in
Yeah.
the country, um,
Yes.
where would you say that you lean? Not even given a
Yes. I
Republican or
definitely lean.
Democratic.
Yes. For me at this point in time, yes, I definitely lean bluer and lean with the Democratic Party.
Okay. And you know where I
All right,
lean.
thank
Yeah. Thank
yeah.
you.
So
Thank you
there's
so
so
much for
Thank
your
you for calling
call.
in.
Thank you so thank you so much. And we need to repeat this that the organization that Pastor Franklin is a part of is a nonpartisan organization, just like the
I am a C3.
NAACP is. Kimberlyn Carter, the organization that she heads, is nonpartisan. And when they are doing the work
Mhm.
Then I
of that
have my other
organization, they are nonpartisan. That is, they don't take sides. However,
When I rolled up in here
when,
today,
yeah, yeah,
I'm the Action Network,
yeah.
and we taking sides. I got my notes. I got my ballot out.
Yes, yes, yes. Now, we appreciate everybody who's tuned in. We appreciate those who are on AM, 980 AM, 107.9 FM, those who've joined us on the Glory Live, and those who've joined us by other media. We appreciate your being there. And we want to continue to read your comments to see who's out there, who's on the Glory Live. We just love having you there. And we love doing this program each week because we think that we get out to you information that you would not get otherwise. I want to tell you that we congratulate Pastor I. Edwin Mack because we've had a portion of Houston Avenue there near Unionville Baptist Church designated as the Dr. I. Edwin Mack Way.
What? I'm gonna slow down when I get to that
slow
part.
down,
I'm gonna slow down when I get to that part.
He worked through the years with former Mayor C. Jack Ellis, Senator David Lucas, Commissioner Sam Hart, a number of other people to make sure that Houston Avenue was done. Because after we had the bond issue and we passed it to pave all the streets years ago, guess what streets were left unpaved? Houston Avenue, Jeffersonville Road was on that list, a number of others. But Pastor Matt got together and pulled these folks together along with Reverend Eddie Smith and some others. And they were able to make sure that the money was put in place to do Houston Avenue. So we want to salute him and say how grateful we are and what a pleasure it was for me to be there and to do a big salute to him. He had his congregation out, and on a Saturday morning, it was, I mean, just a big group of folks.
Nice.
And then the other thing that they did over there was a medical professional, a doctor who had a building, operated an office next door to Unionville Baptist Church. And he retired last year, I believe. He donated that building to Unionville Baptist Church.
Nice.
And they are turning that facility into one that, and they had 4 or 5 different things that they're going to be doing. Voter registration was one that stood out. Health care. They're in partnership with the Economic Opportunity Commission. It's going to be a community center providing resources similar to what the NAACP is talking about putting together. So I see a real good connection there that they can join forces, got the building. And so they join forces and provide the services. So that to me was just a wonderful day.
I think I. Edwin Mack was gifted to have an opportunity. He's been a Pied Piper for so many different things in our community and
He
supported
has. I
so
agree.
many things in our community with the buildings, with an opportunity for him to voice his opinion about the South Macon area. So I think it was in line to do something special with him, Eddie. They both been Pied Pipers and working in our community for such a long time. So even all the way down to Ebenezer, one of my favorite men of God, Jacob Parker. I mean, just Pied Pipers for great things they done. And on the east side, you can't let Gamage go anywhere. I mean, them guys who stood in the forefront and fought, man, for a long time in our era of life, before the other guys were there. They came after and did a great job of fighting for the people in their community. So I think it's by right to name something after him while he's still living. And as well as you, when they gave you that building while you're living, it's time to give people some things while they're alive. They got to die to get a building or get a statue or something. Why don't give them their flowers while they live and they can see them themselves while they're here? And I think it was a great thing to name something after Iowa Mac. He's done a gallant job.
That's a wonderful sentiment as well, Pastor, about flowers now.
Yeah.
Mr. Cotton says, always vote for what is right and what's going to benefit not only you, but for your brothers and sisters also. And we couldn't agree more. We just thank all of you for tuning in.
Great point.
We're now into our second hour, our special voter session or version here today of Ask Elaine. Before we run out of time, and this other hour is going to go by so fast, we want to review the 4 items that are on your ballot.
Yes.
And keep in mind, we have sample ballots. We have a sample ballot that is blank that we have available for you. We also have a sample ballot where we have done the research.
Okay.
And we have determined those candidates that are best for our folks and people who are right thinking people. And so then at the end of this ballot, there are 4 issues.
That's funny.
And the first one provides for suspension of compensation of certain state officers and members of the General Assembly. When somebody is suspended from office, then this says, should their compensation also be suspended? And I say yes.
Yes.
I say if they're suspended from office, why would you continue paying them?
Well,
so that well, we got to make everything fit for him and Kemp just like it fits everybody else. If I had taken home some of my papers from school, and you too, some of those documents from the school, we'd still be trying to dig our way out of that jail.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't even.
Wouldn't you, Pastor?
You
take home some stuff.
People who have not been in.
Take home $20 of the church money.
That's
and
right.
then see if you don't have to dig yourself
Really
out of that.
Let me tell you, I'll never forget when I was a little girl and we had a pastor and the church had purchased him one of them little portable communion sets. And child, when the bishop moved him, man, I remember riding my granddaddy all the way up.
Y'all didn't go get the communion set.
That portable.
Oh my God. Help us, Jesus.
My granddaddy was, he was the chair of the trustee board, and he was like, that communion set was purchased by the church for the pastor. And of course, Reverend Franklin will tell you, we have itinerancy in the AME church.
Yeah.
So a pastor could be a different person from one year to the next. Well, we've seen it from 1 month, depending on who the bishop is.
Yeah, it's correct. Especially Stuart Chapel. Go ahead.
So you're absolutely right about things that, have their presence, if you will.
Right. So that's what that first one says. And we say yes. The compensation, a person shouldn't get paid if they've been suspended from their office. Nope. And in order to be suspended, you have to do some really raunchy stuff.
That's
some
right.
really illegal stuff.
Bad behavior.
So that we recommend a yes on that.
That's right.
First one.
Yep.
The second one provides for temporary local tax relief after disasters, and we recommend a yes.
Yes,
on
absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
People are not in charge of disasters that
That's
come
right.
their way.
That's
And
correct.
shouldn't
And
be.
so this calls for temporary local tax relief
That's right. Right.
after disasters. You've already lost all your stuff.
That's right. That's right.
Power probably gone, all of this stuff.
That's
and then you're going to be expected to pay taxes too.
That's
so this provides for temporary local tax relief after disasters. And so we recommend a yes on that. Now, on the other two, one of them provides for ad valorem tax exemption for certain timber production, reforestation, and harvesting equipment. We recommend a no on that.
That's right.
All of
We
these
are.
different folks have already gotten all kinds
That's
of
right.
tax breaks.
That's
the
right.
people need. Did Kemp ever send you your $250 or your $350? I only heard of a few people. We didn't get ours.
See what I'm saying?
You know,
and
so
please understand that I'm also looking at the voting records on these things. So when we go back to the brother's call about how the parties voted, and so on the first one, the blue folks voted yes, and guess what? The red folks voted
no.
And so
because they want crooks to continue
exactly,
to get
take
paid.
our taxpaying dollars. And then on the second one, the blue folks voted yes,
of course.
and then the red folks voted
no.
And so on this one, the red folks voted definitely yes. Because I don't know no brothers
because they want.
I ain't never seen a brother do nothing but drive a pulpwood truck.
Well,
I ain't know if the brother owned
there
a wood
are a
truck.
few black farmers, but they're in the process of trying to take their land, all that they haven't already taken from the black farmers. And some of the programs that were intended for black farmers, the Republicans came in and voted against those.
That's right.
So now here in Georgia, we're being asked if we can exempt some of these things that some of these farmers want, and I say no. They've already got enough tax exemption, so that's no. And on the last one, this one expands ad valorem tax exemptions for family-owned farms and adds qualified products to the exemption. No. They've got enough. They've got enough.
And we have black farmers who still haven't received subsidies.
That's right. That's right. Wade Horton says that I think Governor Kemp has inspired so many black people to vote because he has worked so hard to suppress our votes. He is experiencing the boomerang effect. And I hope that boomerang effect continues. And Maria Bryant with the NAACP says that the NAACP will have a party to the polls Saturday, November 5th at AutoZone on the corner of Anthony Road and Pinehonor Avenue. The time is 12 to 3. They'll be doing voter registration because you will be able to register and vote in December if there is a runoff. You'll be able to do that.
Pound cake that they
I don't know what they're going to have, but I know they usually have some good eats. All right. They're promoting voter turnout and giving out sample ballots. They'll have food, drinks, and music. So join the NAACP Saturday at AutoZone. There won't be early voting that day.
No.
The last day of early voting is Friday,
5:30.
So you have up until 5 o'clock today. You have tomorrow from 8:30 to 5:30. Then but you go see Stacy too during that time because Stacy will be here just about all day, starting at 8:30 in the morning at New Fellowship. Then Friday, that will be your last early voting day at those 3 early voting sites. Go ahead and do it now. Do it early. And then you don't have to worry about it. You can help and encourage other folks to go vote on election day. There will be no early voting on Saturday,
Yes.
no early voting on this coming Sunday,
Yes.
no more voting on Monday. Tuesday, the 8th, will be it. So if you want to go vote early, go up until 5 o'clock today. Go tomorrow at the 3 early voting locations, Friday at the early voting locations. If you miss all of that, then go on Tuesday at your regular polling place in your neighborhood.
That's
It's
right.
all on your card. If you have any questions at all, feel free to call any of us. We will be glad, or call the station here. They have the information. So call us. We will be glad to get back with you. And one other thing, Cameron, Pastor, if you experience any kind of problems at the polls or any kind of problem with exercising your right to vote, call us, because there's some folks that are just waiting to jump on the behinds of anybody who messes with anybody who's exercising their right to vote. And by the way, did you see those folks in armored gear and hoods and guns and stuff? What state was that where they were camping out at the polling?
That's in Arizona. And the reason why we have to call why we have to call crap on that is because these same folks would not wear a mask this size
Exactly,
to protect
keep
you
them from dying
from a deadly virus. But they will be in full combat gear, head to toe, to stop you from voting. And they are in Arizona now, and they were and it was, they were talking some plans
now the
of
first
coming
judge
to Georgia.
said that
now,
was
I wouldn't
okay.
advise them to come to Georgia.
I wouldn't
because
either.
we different in Georgia now. Y'all bring yourselves over here if you want to. We're different in Georgia.
Yeah.
So
2022.
Stay
y'all.
in Arizona.
Yeah.
Don't come to Georgia.
Another
your boy
judge
Kemp
did.
made it where all of us can, have a extra
right.
leg.
Another judge with better sense than that first one.
Be careful.
Came out with a ruling that said that was intimidation. But a first judge who was sued by the League of Women Voters to get those armed folks out of there from the drop boxes, that first judge said, no, that's First Amendment. That's okay. They can stay there.
Yeah.
Then there was an appeal, and the other judge said, no, they got to come out of there.
That's correct.
How in the world do you make a decision? Somebody's got a gun.
Right.
They're at a drop box where people, and they're filming, they're taking pictures of folks' tags and of them. How is that not intimidation? And you're going to end up with all these folks. The other folks have weapons as well.
Yeah.
Kim, to your point.
That's right.
So you're
especially over here in this state because of Brian Kemp.
Look,
Yeah,
you're
he wants everybody to have a gun.
Everybody
Get a baby a gun. Put a baby.
Did you know he opened up the door for 11,000 people to get a gun that couldn't get a gun before?
Right. That's right. Yes.
That's interesting.
And some folks that we all know have no business with a gun. They have no business with anything that can hurt somebody.
Police officers say they're more scared now than before.
Oh, they need
because now they really don't know who have a gun.
That is really the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, that is really the truth. And I am very offended when I see people online making comments and calling police officers cowards and things of that nature. That is not fair, and that is not true at all. When you are sitting here with a Glock on your hip and the person that you're going to try to apprehend has an AK-47, that is a very different position for you to be in.
Yeah.
And so when we have these conversations about ending gun violence, we have to also have conversations about ending the prevalence and, like you said, this rampant availability of guns, But right. I do want to say this because, our time will be gone. But all of my beautiful folks in Bibb County, I love y'all. But 26,090 of y'all requested a ballot to do vote by mail, and only 3,462 of you have returned them. I need you to check your mail bins.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I
Your
really
pile of
need you
mail.
to really check for your ballot. I need you to make a decision today, not Thursday or not Friday. Either you're going to vote by mail or you're not.
Mhm.
If you have, because if you're going to vote by mail, please go ahead, fill it out. Don't mail it in. Take it in if you need to mail it in, make sure that it's postmarked by Friday. But if you decide and you say, you know what, I feel better now. I don't
Right.
want to, I
Right.
don't, I'm not afraid of the virus, or I'll wear my mask. You still have to take it with you to vote, because
Mhm.
you're going to have to turn it in, sign an affidavit,
Let them
turn it
cancel
in, and then you'll be able to vote
on the
on
machine.
the machine.
Mhm.
Okay, but I need you to. It's 20. It's right now about 23,000 of you, and let me explain this too. In this state, we're about between 60 to 80,000 vote by mail requests in difference to the clear people.
Mm.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Repeat the numbers again,
In
Kim.
2018, when Leader Abrams went into election day, she was winning. She was winning because of the early vote and because of vote by mail. Brian Kemp knew that. Okay. So when I'm asking you to please, we are about 60 to 80,000 vote by mail requests that are just sitting out there, in difference to these clear folk then got theirs in.
Mm.
So I need you to make a decision this week. Am I going to vote by mail, or I'm deciding I'm going to vote in person? If you can't find the ballot, baby, what's the number over there to the Board of Elections?
621-6622.
Call them. They will be able to tell you when it was mailed, give you an example of when it was there. If you still can't find it, if you think you've thrown it out or what have you, it is okay. But I would love if you could early vote so you can go ahead and deal with it,
Yeah.
sign the affidavit,
Yeah.
go on and deal with it, rather than you having to deal with it on the
Right.
precinct day and maybe end up having to do. I don't want you to have to go through that.
No.
Okay. Because the other thing that I need you to understand is there's a new law. The numbers are SB 202, Senate Bill 202. There will be no provisional ballots available for you to use after 5 p.m. on election day. So if you get in a situation
It's before
with
5.
this before 5, I'm
Before
sorry,
5.
before 5 p.m. Thank you for correcting me. So I need you to understand, it is a little race against time, but we want you to be able to exercise the franchise. We want your vote to count.
Right.
And we need you to go ahead and
So
and
she's
handle
saying if you have a problem at all, any kind of thoughts or anything that you don't want to do, your absentee ballot, the paper one that you received in the mail, you can go into the early voting site. They have a process for canceling out that
right.
ballot that they sent to you. And you will then be able to vote there in person. So if you have any questions at all, any at all, and I saw on here that the NAACP had a helpline for if there were any problems at all with your voting. Yeah. Call the NAACP if you have problems at the polls. 478-745-9944. You can also call our office. You can call EL High School Academy, and we will be glad to get your information to
That's right.
election protection.
And
go ahead.
1-866 our vote.
Uh-huh.
1-866 our vote, or 1-866-687 8683. I'm going to put that in the chat.
Yeah, please do that. Now, if you're interested in earning some money around this election from now up until election time, the different campaigns are paying, and some nonpartisan organizations are paying people to go door to door, and I believe it's either 15 or 20 an hour
Door to door. So we're
to
paying
get people out
15
to
for
vote.
texting, 20 for phone banking, and between 20 to 22 an hour to canvas.
Okay, we're going to provide this information in the chat so that if you come back and you review this, you will be able to see the information. If you've got somebody who wants to pick up some extra money and this is a simple, easy, quick way to do it. A lot of young people who are complaining, who want to pick up a little extra money and see why their vote matters and want to be a part of getting the vote out, whomever you may be, then we will have information here in the chat so that you can have this little temporary job that's going to be paying 15 or 20 an hour. We also need people to wave on Tuesday in the morning for 2 hours from 8 to 10. So if you will call us at EL High School, we need to, Kimberlyn has included the voter protection number here in the chat. And if you're interested in helping to wave Vote Today signs on Election Day, November 8th, please call EL High School Academy. And then I can also let you know about the other folks who are hiring because we frankly don't have the numbers that have turned out that we need to be successful in these campaigns and elect some people who will be advocates for us, who will continue that push towards you keeping your hard-earned Social Security. Do you know that one of the things that the Republicans are saying that they're going to do is to require that there be a vote every 5 years on making sure that Social Security continues? Then there are some of them that are saying there needs to be a vote every year as to whether, and I know a whole lot of you get Social Security and you don't want somebody to mess with it. You earned that. President Obama was talking the other day and he said, you went to work, you earned that Social Security. Correct. Why in the world would you allow some off base folks to say, okay, we're going to have to reauthorize that every 5 years, or every year we're going to have to reauthorize it. And if you don't do that, we're going to hold up governmental funding or funding for Ukraine or whatever it might be. The Republicans have said that they're going to do everything that they can to snarl up government. And they're saying their main goal is, well, they got two of them, to get back at President Biden. And the other thing is they want to make sure that they're in total with a capital T, control of government. And what's going to happen is all of us are going to suffer for it. All of us.
Let me say this too.
Go ahead, Reverend.
Yes, Reverend.
The Social Security, you have no idea how many people work just for that. Have no retirement. If there is, very little. We just went through a thing where we lost a lot of people money due to the retirement, and 90-something million got lost, and it was our church. And now those people that didn't pay into it, that paid into it, are living only on Social Security. So that is like a backdoor to those that didn't have retirement plan. So if you sniff out that, then that's going to be anarchy for a lot of us, because you got to find a way to get money. At 65 to 75 years old, if you lived at 70, which was promised to us, if you live that for and have an opportunity to have the Social Security and the benefits that goes with it, it is a plus to have that to fall back on, because a lot of people don't have anything else. So we need to make sure that your vote counts. That's why we push your vote to go vote, because if we lose that, that's your mama, your grandmama, your great grandmama, then you too, and the folks you working for. So a lot of these plans now that you have now might ain't working. I remember when Polaroid, remember when they went up belly up, and everybody in Polaroid that retired had to find a job. And if they didn't have Social Security, they was really in trouble. That means that the moving was somebody else. So that means you got to make sure that those benefits are there when you retire, if you might need those benefits. So we got to make sure that we tell the young folk and those that don't know that this vote really means a lot to us and our community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One other reminder to my home people, Bibb County, Mactown, I'm talking to you. Now, every election year, especially these midterm and gubernatorials, Commissioner Lucas and I, we get to poke our chest out because Macon is always number one.
Yeah.
And within the number of counties in the state of Georgia with majority Black populations. We are still a county with a majority Black population, even with that trick of consolidation they tried to play on us. Normally, in the top 15 counties, we're either in the top 10, and there have been times that we have actually been in the top 5. And that is because, you know, how we be working ourselves down to the bone. Well, Macon now has dropped down to, we're in the top 15, but we are number 11.
We got to do better.
And we've just got to do better. I don't care what the media is telling you about, oh, this turnout, so this, we're running over. We are, in terms of comparison to how we have voted in the past, we are lacking, okay? For the 2018 vote, only 72% of you have come out in the same, by the same number in 2018, because we had an incredible turnout in 2018. We were one of Leader Abrams' number 1 counties in 2018. And I need us to get back to that. And I'm talking to you, Black women. I'm talking to you, Black men. We've got to get back to that. And then in 2020, we're now only turned out at 47% of what we did in 2020 now.
Wow.
And y'all know that's when we turned out that orange warlock.
That's correct.
Now and ushered in a Black man and a Jewish man to go to one of the most exclusive governmental bodies in the world, the U.S. Senate. So we need y'all to call everybody. I need you to take out your phone and in your family group chat, the church group chat. One thing I love about my pastor, every morning we get a text about it's early voting day, y'all.
We've been getting them too.
Yeah, that's right.
So
in your group chat, in your alumni chapter chat, your Divine Nine chat, we have got to become the precinct captains of our families, we have got to make sure that people are voting. And if they are having any barriers to voting, that we can help them to overcome those barriers. Come on now, Macon Bibb.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be up in the top 10 now.
We've got to. Now, y'all please like and share this program, because we want those who have missed it at the regular time, we want those folks to be reminded of this program, and please have them to view this program. If you have to put a note on there saying, please watch this because it's some good information. Please share this so that people will get all of this. Where else are you going to get all of this kind of information, along with an offer for jobs? Temporary jobs.
Get paid for waving. Get paid for waving. Is that like just like the job tasting pies at the pie factory? Get paid to wave.
Look. You know, some of y'all are so cute too.
Yeah. We even have a shirt that you can wear.
You get a T-shirt too.
Oh
my God!
Wear that encourages people to vote. And I have a sign that says vote today, and I put it in the front windshield of my car,
I have some
and
of
I
those.
ride around with it, and it gets a lot of attention. I hope it has encouraged and reminded some people to go vote.
Yes,
If it is
and
a
the whole
reminder,
ballot, and the whole
the
ballot,
The
whole
whole ballot.
ballot, the
The whole
whole
ballot.
ballot.
the
The whole
whole
ballot. Don't check two boxes and
entire
walk out.
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
Want the whole
yeah,
ballot.
yeah,
Please
yeah.
vote the whole ballot.
Um,
from the
now
top to the bottom, and like my grandma used to say, from the kiva to the
that
kiva.
kiva, yeah, kiva to
Kiva,
kiva.
kiva to kiva.
That's right.
That's
Listen,
Southern.
Stacey Abrams, the next governor of the state of Georgia, with your help, will be in Macon tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. at New Fellowship Missionary Baptist Church on Church Street. So join them over there. And we understand that the breakfast will follow the service. There'll be the faith service at 8:30. And a lot of you get up anyway early. So get on up. I get up and try and get this sciatica
Oh my
leg
goodness, I
to
suffer with
get
it too.
moving. To get moving. Y'all pray for me. Get up, and then after the faith service, then there's the breakfast. Then after that, Leader Abrams is going to go. I believe there is a meeting in between there with the ministers, and then at 11:30, Leader Abrams will be at the Tubman Museum. So call up everybody. Make yourself a committee of one to call, to text people, and let them know that Leader Abrams is going to be in town. The person who's running for Commissioner of Labor, Bodie, was
Yay!
in town last night at a fundraiser. A
Yay!
number of people were hosts for that. D.A. Howard, Senator Lucas, Rebecca Greist, the solicitor. There were a number of people who hosted a fundraiser for him. He's running for labor commissioner. He says that absolutely, if he's elected, he's going to open up that labor Department of Labor
Isn't that
office that's been
ridiculous?
closed for what, 2 years?
It's
2
ridiculous.
years. And the person who closed it down, those folks all still have nerve enough to try and run
I know.
again
I
and
know.
ask you to support them. They have a lot of nerve, just like they have a lot of nerve making you think that it's funny for an 82-year-old grandfather and great great grandfather to get hit in the head, attacked, hit in the head with a hammer, and then have to go through major surgery. These same people think that that's funny. I
Yes, they
don't
do.
think it's funny. I don't think.
Did you see Randy Crawford, who I am forever grateful to the entire Crawford family, and but specifically the Crawford brothers, because of them, many of us were able to bask in the glow of having good benefits because they have always fought for organized labor.
Right.
So
That's right.
thank you,
That's
thank you,
wild.
thank you, Crawford.
Yeah, and organized
Forever.
labor generally
And
supports
that's right.
the
And
Democratic
that's right.
ticket, and they are.
And they always held these
Mhm.
corporations who were here to task about hiring black folk
That's
and
right.
making sure that they were paid right. So
That's right.
thank you, Crawford.
That's right.
Crawford.
That's right.
But my friends from Black Push will be down here in the city on Saturday at the Triple Crown Lounge. He's showing there from 12 until, and that's over in the Shirlington
Right.
Shopping
Shirlington
Center.
Plaza.
They're also a part of this vote on the line thing where we're going in the barbershops and things like that. So they're going to be stopping in some of our local barbershops as well. And then it's another crew of ladies with something about nails who will be here. Maybe Maria or some of them may know the name of the people that are going to be coming
Well,
here.
what we
going to the
can do
nail
as we
salons.
find out about those, we'll post it on this on the chat here. We'll
Okay.
still be able to post. And y'all please go back and check all the information on here because there's a lot of information. Wade Horton says, who's always thinking, He says it would be nice for the election phone lines to
I
have
saw
voter
that.
information. And
That
I
is a
think that would be
phenomenal
great.
idea.
And I'm going to pass that information along to the folks who are on the Board of Elections, because the
Thank you, Wade
Democratic
Horton.
Party has 2
What's up,
members,
Wade?
Republican Party
They'll
has
probably have
2.
it together by 2024.
Well, I think we need to ask our Democrats who serve representing us on the Board of Elections to make that happen. That would not be a problem. Most companies that you phone into, you listen to a whole 5 minutes of information while you're on hold. There you go. Right. There you go. If you call EL High School, it tells you, we're glad you called. We're open Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 10 until 5. And, we're sorry we can't answer the phone right now, but, check in with us or call us back. You get the information, some information. So it should be the same way with the Board of Elections. Wade, thank you for that suggestion. We will pass it along. Yes.
Would you just go over once again the process about this vote by mail? That they just got to get these ballots in.
Okay.
Just don't vote
by
mail. We just got it.
Right. If you have requested your absentee ballot and you have received it, would you please, as Kimberlyn has said, decide whether you're going to vote absentee and get it back in, mail it back in, or whether you're a little nervous about it and you just don't want to do that anymore. I would strongly suggest, if you have any concerns at all, don't fool with it. Go in and vote early. Take your absentee ballot, that envelope, take it with you, because they there at that site then can cancel out that absentee ballot, and they can allow you to go through the process of voting there at that site. That's at the Pinona Avenue main office. That's at the Senior Citizen Center in Carolyn Creighton Park. And that's at the Theron Ussery Community Center on North Macon Road.
And tell them, even
North
if
Macon
they've
Park.
lost it,
North
even
Macon
if you
Park.
don't know where it is, don't worry about it. Just come on.
Exactly. If you don't know where that ballot is, it came in, Lord, I put it somewhere, I don't know where it is. Do not worry. Go on in to one of these early voting sites and go ahead, and they can take care of you there. They have all of your voter information right there. Just have your ID. They can still cancel it, and then you may go ahead and cast your ballot. If you need a sample ballot, we have plenty of those available for you, and we will be glad to get it to you. I can email it to you if you call me or email me. I will be glad to send you one back by return email. Randy Crawford says there will be a Black Push rally. That's the one that Kimberlyn was talking about at the Triple Crown Lounge in the Shirlington Plaza Shopping Center from 12 until, what did he say? 12 until on Saturday.
And don't forget about the free rides. Don't forget about the free rides. Free rides. Make the phone calls to precincts. They'll give you the number, and somebody will come get you, pick you up in a decent vehicle.
That's right.
Something nice to ride in. You ain't got to drive.
That's
so
right.
let's make sure you know that. Again, check your relatives and ask them about their sample ballots. They're not living with you or living away. Call them and check with them. We've got to put our feet and hands to work to make this happen.
That's exactly right. Any closing remarks from you, Kimberly?
What's on the line this year? Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Everything. Everything.
And
the economy, healthcare,
everything.
Social Security,
everything.
Your children's education, housing, all of those things, education, all of those things are on the line.
Oh my goodness! Thank you,
Oh,
DJ.
look at that.
So,
Rep Georgia.
so one of the things that happened over this week,
Better
we
vote.
sponsored a big concert up in Atlanta with Gucci Mane and some other college college artists, and so at the event, they premiered a song that was done for us. I am a founder of the Georgia Entertainment Caucus. And so Sean Garrett, who has written songs and produced for Beyonce, Black Elvis, who has written and produced even for the Migos, God Rest, Take Off Soul, and all that, they created this song, produced this song for us. And State Representative Erica Thomas and Scotty ATL did the rapping. So I think he's going to play it so everybody can hear it. And let me know what you think. I love it.
Okay.
Is he going to play it?
I
You
wonder
got it?
if
He put it up there. I don't know
Mr.
if he's going to play the
Engineer.
song. Are you going to play the song, Mr. You going to pray us out? Well, maybe he's not going to play us out.
Mr. Engineer,
Is he still over there?
I think he's trying to find it.
Oh,
He's
okay.
working on it.
He's
Who gonna speak for you? Who gonna show the support that you need, the truth that you don't? Just
It's really good.
Better vote. Better vote.
You better
Better vote.
the economy's up and it's stuck, then it's down. Student loans, credit cards, the rent, stay around. So who do you vote for? Who do you know? Who gonna speak for you? Who gonna show the support that you need, the truth that you don't? Just live your life so the government won't. Stay home if you want to. I ain't gonna tell you what you gonna do. Stay home if you want to. I ain't gonna tell you what you gonna do. Stay at home with your new boo. Play with it if you want to. Stay at home with your new boo. Play with it if you want to. Let's get to the polls right now.
Right now.
Somehow. Long lines, lost ballots. I don't care who's count. Get out and vote right now. Let's get to the polls right now. We
now.
need a change somehow. Long lines, lost ballots. I don't care who's count. Get out and vote right now.
Gotta get out and vote.
Right
A
now.
lot of people on hope. It can feel like a joke. But we need that vote. Talking about you serious. Talking about you woke. I ain't seeing lines. You ain't gotta be lying. Put my name on the ballot. Bring the hood up with it. Bitch got ATL. Put some wood up in it. Drove the road to the polls. Little sticker for the kid. Went to grill by Scotty. Then I made a couple grill. Gotta get out and vote.
Stay home if you want to. I ain't gonna tell you what you gonna do. Stay home if you want to. I ain't gonna tell you what you gonna do. Stay home with
Stay
your new
home
boo.
if you
Play with it if you want to. Stay home with your new boo. Play with it if you want to. Let's get to the polls right now.
Yeah.
We need a change somehow. Long lines, lost ballots. I don't care who's count. Get out and vote right now. Let's get to the polls right now. We need a change somehow. Long lines, lost ballots. I don't care who's count. Get out and vote right now.
Great job.
Thank you. And we have a video too. So
That
if you
is
go
great.
to Rep George's website or our Instagram, you'll get a chance to see the cool little video.
Oh,
That's
we love
good.
our
That's good.
engineer. He can make it
That
Thank
was
you, Mr.
good.
I
Engineer.
love that. I
Thank
love
That's pretty
that.
good.
Thank you.
Yeah, our time
We're
is
trying to reach
just
these young
about.
people. We're trying to reach these young
Yes.
people.
Right now.
Anything. We're just desperate to reach everybody that we can because all of our lives depend, or the quality of our
Yes,
lives
yes.
depend.
On our vote.
You know, so,
Yeah,
what you
Pastor,
know
can
about
you
that,
pray
Pastor?
for the
Hey,
ballot
she said, "Well,
today?
What you know
well,
about
that?
before
Prayer for the ballot.
before the
Yeah.
collar and the cloth, anyway, I think the music was great. I think an opportunity for us to reach those 18 to 25, that big gap there, that we can fill that gap, whatever it takes to get that gap filled. Let's do it because that vote counts. And I'm excited about what y'all doing. Keep up the good work. Let's get them involved because trust me, they are tomorrow. If we don't get them fired up now, how are we gonna get them fired up? Because if they don't take this torch and run with it, we might go backwards.
That's right. That's right.
We will go backwards. Kim is asking for a final.
Can you take us out
word,
with prayer, Pastor? I mean, in these politically violent times, we need prayer for safety of our election workers,
Yeah.
our poll workers, the candidates,
Yep.
our
And it's
elected
got to be
officials.
quick because
So okay,
Okay.
so,
needs.
yes.
God, we thank you for the opportunity given to us. We ask you that you would bless those that thinking about it, bless those that want to do it, bless those that's doing it, and bless those that are out here trying to make sure that they're fighting for their community, that they will make sure we vote because of those came before us, died, bled, and sweat for us, that we will not forget them by not voting, but we remember them by taking ourselves to the polls and checking that box. Bless us and keep us, that we continue to keep the bloodstained banner alive. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Amen. Listen, we want to see you at 8:30 in the morning at New Fellowship Missionary Baptist Church.
Missionary.
And then they'll have breakfast, and then at 11:30 at the Tubman Museum.
Right.
And so, but it's in your hands. It's all left up to you. What are you going to do with it? You going to run with the ball, or you just going to fall down on it like some folks did at a game this weekend?
Lord have
what you going to do? What you going to do? We need you. We need you. All of our lives depend on this.
That's correct.
So we thank you once again so very much, and we'll see you again next Wednesday with hopefully some positive results.
That's right.
Because it'll be after the election.
It's coming.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you again next Wednesday for another edition of Ask Elaine.
The views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Connecting the community through gospel.
The new 107.9 FM, W300EB.
Macon and WDDO 980 AM